Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Joanna and I make weekly videos about organizing, motivation and lifestyle. Please subscribe to let me know that you're interested in these kinds of videos and hit that notification bell so as not to miss any of the upcoming videos. Alright, let's get right into it. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to be better able to deal with failure? It doesn't matter to them how many times they need to get up as long as they learn something in the process. I, for most of my life, considered myself to be a person who is quite well motivated. I was always able to find my own reasons why I wanted to do the things that I felt like I needed to do. But whenever I was faced with failure or not being able to be good enough, at least in my own eyes, I felt like I was losing interest and I just couldn't get myself motivated again to just keep trying. And sometimes reaching out for feedback, no matter how constructive it would be, I felt like I was attacked personally and I needed to defend myself whenever someone just tried to give me some advice on how I could improve myself. This first started when I met my boyfriend, who seems to be completely opposite to me. He enjoys challenges, he enjoys solving problems and is really good at this. He, even though sometimes things do not go the way he wanted them to, does not seem to be bothered at all. He just tries to learn as much as he can from the situation and just keeps trying. Now, I thought to myself, this is something that I would want for myself, but how do I go about this? And what makes me different from him? Is it at all possible that my mindset could somehow change and I could become that other person? Well, turns out that it actually is quite possible. So I found this book by Dr. Carol Dweck, in which she tries to explain to us that there is two types of mindsets. One that we call the fixed mindset and another one called the growth mindset. So based on the story that I already managed to tell you, are you able to tell me which one of us has the fixed mindset and which one of us is presenting the growth mindset? I'll give you a second to think about this. So if you said that I presented the fixed mindset, you can congratulate yourselves. I was. And my boyfriend for sure was showing us what the growth mindset is all about. So let's tackle the fixed mindset first. Those are the people who believe that all our abilities and intelligence are something that is carved in stone. You just cannot change them and there is nothing you can do about this. Of course, you are going to gain new knowledge, but it's not really going to make you any smarter than you already are. Those kinds of people have a tendency to constantly try to prove themselves. And I don't mean that they take on challenges and that they welcome them, but I mean that each time they manage to succeed in something, they kind of seek praise for their intelligence, how smart they were, or how many good strategies they were able to employ, and how well they were able to work towards their goal, and how well they were able to perform. Whenever faced with failure or criticism, tend to take the comments very personally. We think that this is the attack on what kind of a person we are and that it definitely defines us for the rest of our lives. And that there is very little that we can do to change that. Then on the other hand, we have people with the growth mindset. Those are the people who believe that your basic qualities are something that you are constantly able to improve on through effort. The more hard work you put into yourself, the better person you are ultimately going to be. Those people are in it for the challenge, are in it for the learning process in itself. Of course, those people are also going to feel like failure. I don't mean it that everybody is going to celebrate failure. No, this hurts them as much as it would people with the fixed mindset. What I mean by this is that they're able to better understand a situation that happens to them, and they're trying to learn as much from it so as to avoid it in the future. The best part about this is that they celebrate it when someone else succeeds, because they know that they're able to learn from them, and hopefully they're able to translate their success into their own personal gain. So you could ask yourself, why does it really matter which mindset I am in? Well, the reason for this is very, very simple. And let me tell you a story, my personal story. And I believe now, after reading the book, that everything that happened to me is precisely because I displayed the most basic qualities of the fixed mindset approach. So let me set the scene. I'm still a teenager and I'm faced with a big choice for my future school. My teachers tell me that the best idea and the best approach would be to focus on the school that I am the most interested in getting into. Sounds good, right? But what I did was I applied to the school I knew I was going to get into for sure, leaving the school that I really wanted to get into as my second choice, and another school that I would be okay with as my third choice. Unfortunately, the schooling system and the way that they were putting students into whatever school they wanted to was based on their first choice. So if you got in with your first choice school, no one was going through your application again, because you already got accepted, so there was kind of no need for further checking and analyzing if you would be able to get into it. But me, thinking with that fixed mindset, I believed like I would not be able to get into my second, let alone the third choice. So I, trying to avoid this feeling of failure and that really deep feeling of shame and being judged by others for not being able to get into my first choice school, I was so afraid and so focused on that feeling of shame and guilt that I decided to completely forget about the advice I was given from all of my teachers and just go for something I would know that I was going to succeed in 100%. And the worst part is that I blamed everybody else for my choice. I was telling myself that had someone talked with me about this and really made sure I understood what the consequences would be, then I wouldn't have made that choice. If my parents talked to me about the choices in life or the career options, then I wouldn't have made that choice either. The truth is that I only understood this after reading the book, that blaming others for your own mistake is part of that fixed mindset. Now I know that I alone am responsible for making that mistake. I'm sure that you too have some situations in your lives that you can now, knowing that there is those two mindsets and how they really can influence your life, realize what impact those decisions and the way you acted in those situations could have had on your life. I am trying to improve myself and grow as a person, develop myself, so this is the reason why I'm trying to share with you my little discoveries that hopefully will help you improve as well. Besides the decision factor, why else does it really matter to have a better understanding of why your mindset really matters? I already glanced over the fact that you perceive yourself as failure, or rather you're unable to deal with the failure in that you take everything so personally. So the way you perceive yourself and others is going to be highly influenced by the type of mindset that you present. If you have the qualities of the fixed mindset, whenever you deal with failure, you are going to be blaming yourself. You're going to see yourself as someone who is stupid, unable to do anything, is not worth anything. You're definitely going to put a lot of blame on yourself, and you're going to be beating yourself up whenever something doesn't really go according to your plan. Whereas if you are showing the qualities of the growth mindset, you are going to be more likely to perceive a situation as something that just happens and try to look for opportunities that you could learn something useful from a certain situation and hopefully not find yourself in that position ever again. Another thing is the way you perceive your successes and failures. For example, people with the fixed mindset tend to focus on their successes. They're very good at presenting that they have done something really well and they're very proud of themselves, and that they're not really trying to improve much on it. They're going to just settle for whatever works for them, just go the easy way, if you will, just like I did in my story. Whereas with failures, with the fixed mindset, you would be more likely to start blaming other people and not focus on the ways to improve, but rather dismiss something as just too difficult or not worth the effort. If you had the growth mindset, you would look for ways to improve yourself, your learning lessons, even from your success. And what about challenges or problems that we keep facing all through our lives? People with the fixed mindset try to avoid them. There's something bad, they're not positive, and they certainly pose a lot of threat to the kind of person that we are. We try to focus on keeping those appearances of us being successful, smart, intelligent, or good at something. And whenever there is a problem, that means that there is a potential of not doing as good as we would expect or as people would hope we would do. Whereas if you have this growth mindset, you tend to believe that problems or challenges are good for you. They're the possibility to learn, to improve, to be a better person. So they're never really about the outcome, whether you'll succeed or whether you'll fail. It's just an opportunity, a possibility to further improve yourself. Our mindset surprisingly influences a lot of our situations, not only at work where we're facing a lot of those challenging situations, it's also in our daily life whenever we're dealing with a family member or partner. There's just so many situations that could happen to us, and our mindset can really change the way in which we act. If you recognize the fixed mindset in you, don't worry, there is a way in which you could try to improve yourself or switch to the growth mindset oriented person. Now I'm going to give you some of the tips that you could try to use for yourself in order to at least show a little bit of that growth mindset in the future. Next time something happens in your life, and then you can consciously realize and make the decision to act better. So first of all, you should ask yourself what you can learn from the situation that happens to you. How can you do better in the future? And then if you realize that this is something that you really want, then you need to realize for yourself that it will require a lot of effort. So you're looking for some ideas on how you could improve in the future, what could be learned from a situation. Ask for feedback, for advice from people who you trust, your teachers, your bosses, your managers, your spouse, your partner. Try not to take anything personally. No one is defining you as a person based on a couple of failures, a couple of mistakes that you've made. As long as you're trying to improve and you legitimately put that effort in, then you are on the right path to improvement and you are going to be a better person because of it. Now, something bad happens to you. There is that failure that you dreaded so much. Now remember that the fixed mindset people would first of all take it very personally, which we just said that you shouldn't be doing. But secondly, they would try to look for placing their own blame onto somebody else. Now, don't do that. Try to avoid it as much as possible, because you cannot influence the way other people act, but you can influence the way you act yourself and the way you think. And my final tip is to realize that it takes effort, and that effort is a positive thing. It just shows that you can really be good at anything as long as you put that effort in, as long as you start working really hard enough for it. Nothing is going to come your way just like that, just because you deserve it. You need to start working hard on it and start working now. So thank you so much for watching, but before you go, I'm going to ask you one final question. Do you think it's possible to have both the fixed and the growth mindset all at the same time? Well, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!